Now that we've started navigating around a little bit inside of our model, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about some of the things that the template did automatically for us so that you can understand what's going on. If we look at this object here, it is a light mass importance volume, and basically everything inside this box the light mass will take into account. So when you're doing in real time, you have to be conscious of memory and everything. You don't want to just going off into infinity and calculating everything. So your light mass, or your lighting basically for the scene, will only take place inside this square, and you're telling it where the lighting is important. There's also this post-process volume, which is this one here. This is already set up by our template. Now the post-process is cool because in here you can do things like when let's navigate back to here, but go into construction mode basically. And we'll see if we adjust the white balance in our post-process cube, you can see that that's kind of like Photoshop. You can tint it. You can do color grading. Here you can change like your black clip and your white clip, which is pretty handy. You can change your ambient occlusion here. See that? Okay, so, and you can also adjust lens flares. If we had any lens flares going on, we don't really have lighting in the scene yet, but when we do, we can adjust light flares and blooms and all those kind of things. So it's basically like the Photoshop, the post-processing effects that you would do on a still rendering, you can do inside of real time as well, which is pretty awesome. But it's only going to take effect inside of this box. So you would create that by going here, and you can search for post-process volume, and you would just drag it in like that. And it's buried in here somewhere. Okay, so here's the volume, so it would be in here. There's audio volumes. There's all different kinds of volumes to tell it where to do certain things, which is fantastic. Here is our atmospheric fog. Here's the icon for it. Now if you go into here in atmosphere, you can turn up the sun multiplier, and you'll see that that will start brightening the sky, and it's kind of foggy and hazy out here, and there's a lot of light bloom going on. You can turn up the fog multiplier so that it gets really foggy. The other one is really turning up the brightness of the sun. There's that. There's a density multiplier. All these things adjust the fog. Now obviously I've got it too. These yellow buttons, by the way, put it back to default, which is great. So that fog needs to be in there to give you the depth, but you can turn it way down so it's nice and subtle, or you can turn it way up if you want some really moody effects. Sphere reflection capture. Okay, this is another actor that you can bring in from over here. If you type in sphere and drag it in, this one's already got it in here from the template. Now these go in places where you want things to reflect. So if we hit F to focus on that, it's in here somewhere. There it is, that little chrome ball. Let's bring it a little bit back here. Okay, so this is basically gathering imagery from around that sphere so that if you had like a chrome object in here or something, it would translate and it's near the sphere, it will basically tell that chrome what to reflect. So it's not like a render engine that you're used to where it's actually bouncing light and reflection off of objects. This kind of fakes it a little bit, and you use those spheres to tell it where to gather information to reflect off of other objects. So let's put that in the middle of this room, and it's okay to put multiple ones around things that you want to reflect. We'll get into that a little more as we get into materials. The first person character is something that came with our template, but if you wanted to add your own actor, let's see, empty character, this is what you could use, a player start. Okay, and that's a little capsule, and that will be where you start every time. This doesn't have the scripting built in, and actually it's still starting with my original blueprint. But if this blueprint wasn't in here, it would start with this player start, and this doesn't have everything built in where you can jump and do all those things, but this will give you basic navigation if you were starting from scratch. The blueprint that's in here for the first person character is one of the reasons I like to use the template though. Go ahead and take a look at all these different things. There's triggers in here if you wanted these. Box triggers are, for example, you could put a box trigger in here and you could write a little script for saying, when my character goes inside that box trigger, open this door over here. I don't have that set up, and that's a little more advanced than I'm going to get into for this course. But that is how you do all these basic things. Here's all the different actors you can put in. You can put in objects, etc. But you can navigate around, and you can use those post-process effects to get some really cool colors and lighting. Okay, now that we're in here and we understand kind of what's going on and we're doing basic navigation, let's get into the materials and lighting coming up in the next sections so that we can start striving for photorealism even in real time.